Hi there, it's Greg Scher, once again pinch hitting for the great Jeff Zimfer, who I am very pleased to report is on the mend. The radiation is over, and he is on his way to the other side and is actually doing quite well. He wanted me to let you know. I have something fantastic for you that you are really going to relish. It is an interview with one of the top originators in the country. His name is Oleg Tkach. He's not a well-known name, but let me just tell you that he's closed $4 billion in production, and he's not even 40 yet. He goes into depths that I have not heard in a podcast interview before, and you will 100% benefit from this. Please enjoy. And another Monday, backed by popular demand, a top producer, Oleg Tkach, is with us. What's going on, my friend?
Everything good in my world. We got a little bit of snow here in Washington in March, hoping to hit the slopes this weekend. Super excited about that. My 12-year-old just got into snowboarding and just grasped it. So yeah, I'm excited. All is good. Mortgage volume is great. Things are just pumping.
You're one of the most interesting people in mortgage. You know that picture of the guy who's like the most interesting man? If there was one in mortgage, it would be you. I mean, what a story you have to share. You got into the business at a very young age. You were 16 years old, doing some odds and ends at a bank, and started to see people moving and shaking, became a teller, then later got into the mortgage business, did whatever it took to be a top producer, and you have closed over $4 billion in volume. And people are probably like, well, Oleg, do I know Oleg? Because where's his social media? I mean, how come I've never heard of this guy? Well, a lot of people have heard about you in the coaching realm. And you were a top coach at the core under Rick Ruby. And then you eventually branched out and you have something so exciting that you're a part of that we'll talk about. But your journey, Oleg, you're closing 60 loans in the month of March. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but we're going to get into like, what are the keys? How do you what do you look for? And I'm just so excited. I don't know where to start. Is it obvious that I'm this excited? Have you ever seen me this up?
Well, Greg, I got to tell you, a lot of people don't realize too, is that like, I never thought I would be here today. Like, meaning I didn't grow up in a place where like, people told you to dream and think big or anything like that. Like, in fact, it was a little bit of the opposite. And I'm not saying that in a way of like, where it was like a bad upbringing. It was great. It was just, I wasn't around big thinkers. And so like my expectations for myself was like more along the lines of survival. If I can make 100K a year in mortgage, and I would be great. I'm set. If I can make 120, I would be set. And it was really, when I really realized, being around the right people and following and doing exactly what they do, it really doesn't matter who you are. If anybody follows the play and runs the play for a long enough time, you get the results. And I remember when I started in mortgage, which was 18, and day one, the harsh reality of you have to find your own business kicked in. And, for a lot of people, that's kind of a depressing thing, especially when you enter into the business. It's like you think it's going to be easy, but then you realize how hard it is to find your own business. From that day, it was really, the shift was, look at somebody that's doing it, ask them what they did. Don't ask too many questions, so that way they continue talking to you, and just do it and execute. Just get enough to just execute. And that's how it started. And I remember the company that I was with, by like month 6 or 7 or 8, I was doing more units than the people around, everybody else around me. And the thing is, it wasn't like I was doing an impressive amount of units. My first company that hired me, I mean, they didn't have massive, great producers. I mean, the average person was doing 2 to 3 loans a month. And so when you're doing, I think I closed like 9 in 1 month, more than anyone. Well, in 2005 at that time in a small little broker shop, that was impressive. But it just goes to show you that, following a plan and what other people are doing that's working, like at the end of the day, that is the way. Like you're not going to recreate it. Just figure out what the other people are doing. They're having the results that you want and just execute.
There's so much there. You mentioned that you didn't grow up in an environment where you were really encouraged to dream big. You were born in Ukraine.
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
So I came here when I was 3. So I don't remember anything. I've never been back. I have relatives that are still there, but I don't know them. I don't really know them. I mean, I've seen them on Zoom videos, but I don't know them. We've had a few come, since the whole war broke out, come over that I've met and actually helped them purchase homes and everything since then. But yeah, I was born there, came here when I was 3, pretty much grew up here. So
did your folks speak a lot of English when they came over?
So, that's the funny thing is, so I do have a lot of clientele that is part of the Slavic community, Russian, Ukrainian, Moldovan, or Romanian, Belarusian, and so forth. And, in my household, my parents were actually trying to learn English growing up. So we actually tried to speak English because we were trying to help them speak English. And so we really didn't speak the language really, just a little here, a little there. And so when I got into the industry, that's when I kind of, for the most part, learned it. And I still don't speak it great. Like I'm like 80% there. But yeah, so we grew up in an environment where we were trying to help our parents speak English. So
yeah, interesting. Yeah. So you said something a few minutes ago. You said just run the play. So anybody that hears that is thinking, well, gosh, what's the play? So get into that.
Well, so I think the thing about it that a lot of people don't realize is there's a couple core basics of like what you need to do, right? Meaning like calling agents is that'll never go away. We're always going to have to call agents, right? And there's nothing impressive by somebody saying call agents, right? I think, what I define the play as is, how, what is your approach? Where are you finding agents? What are all the different ways to get in front of an agent without cold calling? Like one of the things we developed is 18 different ways to get in front of an agent without cold calling. And then it's like, once what is your approach? What is your script? Once you get in front of them, how does that look like? Like everybody's like, well, have meetings with agents. Great. That's very general. Have meetings. But how do you have that meetings? What do you say in that meeting? How do you have an effective meeting to where ultimately what matters is, did you get a lead, yes or no? And if the answer is, I'm barely getting a lead here and there, or I'm meeting with a bunch of agents and they're really not giving me any leads, the fact that you're meeting with agents is great. You develop the skill to get in front of them. But however, you haven't developed the skill to have an effective high level meeting to get more from them. Then you could say on the other side of it is your current agents that you have, the ones that are using you from time to time. The question is, what percentage of business are you getting from them, and what is the play to get a higher percentage of business from there? So I think that, a lot of people, when they get into coaching, they are told a lot of basic general things. You should work with agents. You should get more from the ones that but a lot of people lack what is the actual strategy to get in front of agents? What's the strategy to have a highly effective meeting? What's the strategy post meeting to then have a large percent of them continue to send you business? So I think that defining that strategy and I think that always changes. I think that changes depending on market conditions. And I think that having the one that is working today is different than the one that worked, 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago.
I'm going to take this from, cruising altitude of 35,000 feet with the seatbelt sign off to down a little bit where you can see the lights below you. And let's unpack two things that you just said. Effective meetings. So, what goes into an effective meeting with an agent?
Yeah.
What are some of the ingredients?
Perfect. So, most people, when they meet with an agent, like a lot of them are like, well, I don't have a strategy. I come in there and I try to find rapport. And then, when I see an opening, I give him and they give him a 2-minute speech. And most people to say the exact same thing. And what they basically say is very short of, I'm going to take care of your clients. I'm going to close on time. Right. And then the agent typically will say, hey, this is so great. Like as if they never heard it before. I'm going to send you people. and the meeting ends, they walk out, and a lot of people feel great after the meeting, and they're like, hey, I'm going to get all these leads, and then they never hear from the agent again. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't really have a strategy, but I wing it each time. Well, that is your strategy, right? Like, the fact that you wing it each time is your strategy. So what I think a highly effective meeting is, I think one is you have to have the ability to meet agents from anywhere. I think the whole traditional meet them in person, I think, is the old way, which it's not to say that it doesn't work, but you're very limited, right? Like how many more variables do you have if you're only meeting people in person? Now all of a sudden distance is a variable. Now all of a sudden the time, it becomes a variable. Now the location of where you meet becomes a variable. You just have more reasons why that meeting won't happen, or you'll set less of them up. So one of our strategies that we have is the agent Zoom strategy, where you meet them on Zoom, coupled with a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that essentially sells you, the team, who you are, and all the different ways where you can essentially help agents. And what you're doing in that meeting, and I think in any meeting, what people don't realize that they're doing is you are programming the agent to feel a certain way about you. Like, every time you're in front of an agent, whether you realize or not, they end up feeling a certain way about you by the way you talk, by the way you present, by what you show, by how you bring. And this goes to the agents that are newer to you, and it goes to the agents that are brand new, and the ones that you currently have. Like, a lot of agents, the lenders don't realize, like, when you call your agents and the market's tough and all you do is complain, even though the agents are with you and they maybe will share in that misery, after that call, they're like, you know what, I don't know if I want to send him another client, because, man, that was very, very negative. Sounds like he has a bunch of problems in his business. And they don't realize, like, that's indirectly hurting them, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't share with agents and everything else, but you gotta understand at what point is it having a negative impact on me, right? Because at the end of the day, agents want to be around people that are winning, that will help them win more deals. And so all the programming that you do, from the initial meeting to the presentation to the follow-up calls to the marketing that you do, all of that should essentially make them feel that if I work with so-and-so, in my case, Oleg and his team, I will win more often. I will close more deals. They will help me win more. If they feel that, they're going to send you more transactions, especially if you have a way of showing them all the different ways that you could help them. And so what I do very, very simply is, when I present to them, most of my initial presentations are on Zoom with a PowerPoint, as I go through why I have a team, how we help them convert more, why it's important for us to do this, why we have the pre-approval managers, why we have less than 1% of our pre-approvals fall out versus the industry average of 22, why we have the back-end team, the processing, why we update every single Tuesday without fail, why we do this, why we do all that, why we get reviews. And then we go into the different products that we offer. And then I like to always share stories about the different products. Instead of just saying, hey, we do non-QM and we have non-QM, it's, hey, have you ever heard of a non-QM? Do you know what the differences are? Do you know how a non-QM works? Well, most LOs have them, but very few actually use them. In fact, here's a story. I was talking to one gal, and I like to tell stories as I go in my presentation. And, we were talking about our bank statement loan, and she had a client who was self-employed and wrote everything off. And this person happened to get denied by 3 different lenders. And I convinced her, true story, to connect them with me. And we got him pre-approved for $1.85 million. He went under contract for $1.65. We had him closed within 30 days. The agent made a $52,000 commission. And I like to say that, well, but because think about this. So from the other end, from the agent side, you have to make it about them. It's like, at the end of the day, a lot of LOs come in and it's all them, rah, 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 rah. Like, I used to tell agents, like, hey, I'm number 1 in Washington State for years and years and years. Now I don't even talk about that. It's all about them. I make it all about, why does it matter to them when they use me? Why do these products matter to them? Why does me having a team matter to them? And if you make it about them, then they step away from that meeting and they're like, hey, that is who I want to work with. Here's who I want to have as one of my lenders. And that's another thing that we've learned, is that all agents work with multiple lenders. And A lot of people, when they hear that, they get discouraged and they're like, well, am I not enough? Right. And I get that. I went through that stage too. But then you realize the opportunity in that. And the opportunity is you could get anyone's agent to work with you as well. It's not just limited to you anymore, because at the end of the day, all you're trying to do is become one of their lenders versus their only lender. The trap is when you want to be their only lender and you're trying to be primary, and that's all you're going for is the primary lender relationship. The trap is most likely they have somebody and then they feel like, at the end of the day, you're trying to replace them. So then they their guard is up, versus coming in with the approach of like, hey, I'm not trying to replace your primary. Your primary is probably awesome and amazing, but here's where we could help you. Here's the business we could do for you. And then you try to get on one of the other levels that we teach, which is either the business level, the backup level, and the program level, and then you earn primary along the way. And I think that that's where, like, when it comes down to effectively having a meeting, it's not only making sure it's about them, but it's also making sure you sell them based on a level that you could easily get on with them. And most lenders, they just go for primary, and as soon as they hear about another lender, they talk crap about them, and they don't realize it's hurting them more than it's helping them.
Oh,
So I
first of
think
all,
that answers your.
first of all, you are absolutely on fire right now. 9 alarm fire. You are, bring all the engines. Love what you're saying. Thank you for dropping those nuggets on everybody. The statistic you threw out about your conversions, but just pretty staggering too, and your lack of fallout compared to the industry standard. So what is one thing that people can do to convert at a higher level? Without going into your entire playbook, but what is a thing that's top of mind for leading to better conversion?
The first thing is the most basic that most loan officers miss is if you respond to every lead within 15 minutes. Do not let a lead sit for more than 15 minutes. Your conversion will skyrocket. The biggest hole that everybody has in their business is that leads wait too long, and by the time they call them back, they talk to somebody else, or they talk to another lender because they're one of three. Speed to lead is number one, right? And so I think that's the one where most people are like, well, I talk to every lead immediately when they call in, and that's their perception. But the reality is, do you really? Because you don't have a team. So you're telling me when you're in a meeting with a client one-on-one, you're talking to every lead immediately. When you're meeting in front of an agent, you're talking to every lead immediately. Or, hey, when you have an underwriting problem, you're dealing with loan problems, which we all do, you're talking to every lead immediately. I think people don't realize actually the fact that they might pick up, their phone a lot. They're actually not talking to every lead immediately. What if a lead gets emailed in? Are you jumping on that immediately? So I think speed to lead is the big one that we don't realize how slow most people are and how many leads most people miss. Like, there's a lot of leads that when people get busy, especially with rates coming down and more people having more refis, they get busier. And a lot of people don't realize, like, hey, I got a text lead. I was going to respond to them immediately, but I got on this call with so-and-so. And then before you know it, the next day they reach out to the lead. So speed to lead is number one. And I think that that's the easiest one, where if you could solve that alone will skyrocket your conversion.
Excellent. There were 2 parts to what you pointed out where I wanted to stop you in your tracks. The other aspect was your current percentage that you're getting. And so there's a lot of opportunity there with your current agents, always be recruiting, right? And I guess that goes for the agents that are in your sphere. Open up our eyes to some of the things that you do to make sure that they don't forget that you're in their stable.
Yeah. So, what's funny is that a lot of us don't realize, like, this is so simple. And I think almost every LO misses this. They get an agent, the agent and them start working together. Things are going good. They start with a lot of, transactions. Let's just say it's a great relationship. And slowly over time, the amount of deals goes away. And they just think, hey, either that agent is slower or that agent is, maybe not using him anymore because they found somebody else, or whatever the reason is. What really happened is they stopped selling and reselling that agent on them. Like, one thing that you always have to be doing, no matter what, whether it's directly or indirectly, whether it's subliminally, you have to resell your agents on what you do and why you. all your marketing has to constantly be reselling them on you and your team. If you're not, your amount of business starts going down. So if you think about it, like the first thing is it means that you have to be in what we call be doing a ton of agent programming calls. And agent programming calls are calls that you're doing them and programming them on all the different future situations that they need a lender and where you could help them. For example, a simple one, just to give you an example, is let's just say, Greg, you're a realtor and I reached out to you, and you and I just completed a pre-approval for you. So I reach out to you, hey Greg, I just want to reach out. Did you get the pre-approval? Does that purchase price work for you? And you're like, yes, it works for me. I say, okay, awesome. Hey Greg, by the way, this is the programming. Do you ever run into situations with clients where they're pre-approved for 700, but if they had 750, that extra 50K would be the difference between them buying a home versus continuing to search? Do you ever run into that? Right? Now, most agents will say yes. And you say, well, hey, I just want you to know a ton of agents use this as a second opinion lender. Oftentimes, we're able to get, on average, between 50, 60, sometimes 70K more, especially more than the local big banks here, in buying power. So next time you run into a client that needs a higher purchase price, just know, let us be that team for you. Right? Very, very simple. That is how you program them on a future situation where they need a lender, right? Another one, a simple one, could be saying, hey, great, by the way, do you work weekends, right? And obviously every agent does, right? We're asking questions that we know the answer to. And they say, yeah, well, hey, I just want you to know we have pre-approval managers on staff every single weekend, and we want to work when you work. Most agents put together deals on weekends. Now, here's the thing, next time, you're working the weekend and you have a client that you're working with us, reach out to us. We'd love to help. Also, if you have another situation where they're working with a different lender, that lender is out of town or unresponsive, just know we do a lot of pre-approvals on the weekends for our clients for our agents that need to write offers. Just keep that in mind, right? Again, you're programming them in the future situation where they need a lender. I'll give you another one, since we're on this. Hey, Greg, do you ever work with self-employed borrowers, right? Yes, I do. Well, hey, do you ever run into scenarios where they write off way too much and they can't get qualified? Yeah, it happens all the time with self-employed borrowers, right? Well, hey, Greg, next time you run into a client that can't qualify, I just want you to know from our all of our non-QM programs, from our bank statement loans to our 1099 loan, we could go off of the 1099 loan instead of their bank statements, to our DSCR lending, where we don't even look at the tax returns, to our no ratio products. Just know if you run into that scenario and you have somebody that has a large down payment, 20% or more, most of the time we're able to find them solutions even though they've been denied by other lenders. But just keep us in mind. Let us be that lender for you. Right. And it's having these constant conversations where you program them.
Got it.
And
This
so,
is really super powerful. Look,
well,
I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop.
Can I ask you one thing though? Or mention one last thing, because a lot of people, they get caught up on this. They're like, well, what if the agent says no? Meaning, hey, Greg, do you ever run into somebody that is self-employed but doesn't qualify because they write off too much? And you say no. What do you say?
Well, you will.
I say, lucky you. Next time you do, and you keep going. Hey, do you work weekends? No. Well, lucky you. But next time you do, just know, this is what we do. It doesn't matter. The sale, you program the same. It's irrelevant what they say. And so again, it's getting into this mode where you're always selling them. And let me tell you why this is so important. This is so important because what happens in the worst zone that you want to be in with real estate agents is the friend zone. It's the worst zone, the friend zone. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. The friend zone is when you guys hang out together and everything, and you're their go-to lender when they need a lender. Well, when do they typically need a lender? When somebody shows up and they have no lender. And they're like, well, Greg, who should I work with? I have no lender. And they're like, oh, well, gosh, my buddy Oleg, go reach out to my buddy Oleg. Well, that's happening less and less as people, have access to online lenders and everything else. Very rarely does somebody just show up to an agent and they have no lender whatsoever, right? Or they don't have a unique scenario. And so what I realized that the friend zone is super, super real, where if you stop selling to your agents that you currently working with on every which way that you could help them, you are missing so many deals that you don't even realize that you're missing. So for example, I remember I called one of my buddies, really, really close friend of mine, and I'm just driving home. I call him and he goes, oh, he was super excited. He's like, I just put together this deal where I'm like triple ending it. I'm like, what do you mean? Tell me more. And he's telling me, he's like, well, so I have a guy who I'm doing an open house for, and his a guy came in and wants to buy his home, and basically he came in contingent, and I have this one lender that has this bridge loan product, so I sent him to that lender. He got him pre-approved, so now all of a sudden we're non-contingent, we're closing on this deal, I'm double ending it, and then the fact that we're non-contingent, I'm actually going to sell his home after closing when he buys this home. So I got 3 deals out of 1. I'm super excited. Which, by the way, Oleg, you need to get a bridge loan product. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I have a bridge loan product. And he's like, you do? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, why didn't you tell me about it? And I'm like, you're right. I didn't even fight for that deal. And I realized the reason why I didn't tell you about it, because we're friends. We hang out all the time. Why do I need, I assume that you're going to go work with me all the time. You need a lender. Every scenario we need a lender. And guys, it's not how it works. So, at that point, I told him, I said, hey, moving forward, every time we talk, I'm never going to end the conversation without sharing something that me and the team are doing of how we could do business together. And that is ultimately what we're talking about here. And so when it comes to the agents that you currently work with, you absolutely have to always, your marketing, everything that you do, every time you talk to them, you have to constantly program them on all the different ways that they could use you. And here's the thing, guys, this takes 20 minutes at the end of every conversation. 20 seconds at the end of every conversation. This does not take a lot of time. This is a strategy and a mindset and just the way you become and the way you operate, where you're always programming them to think about you when they need a lender. So going back to it, what do we do? So one of the things that we do that we have crazy success with is, when I start coaching people, one of the things that I have them do is resell all their current agents on them. And it's funny because people are very hesitant about this. They're like, well, why would I resell? And so then we show them how to do it properly. We give them the presentation. We show them how to resell. And the results are always the same. They're like, every time, they're like, I can't believe how many agents didn't know I do this, this, and this, and this. How many agents didn't know this? Hey, I'm getting leads on the spot and it's yeah, because agents, they don't know what they don't know. And we just assume they know because maybe one time we had it in our email or we mentioned it one time on a call to them, versus we're constantly, again, selling, reselling, and programming them on when to use it. In fact, we have one gal that I started coaching. She and I, we always compete for the number 1 spot in Washington. And she started coaching with me, and I had her do this. She has 40 million a month set for the next 2 months. She said, I can't believe how great this works. I can't believe how easy it was. I can't believe that I've been missing out on this whole time. And I think that that's the part that people don't realize is when it comes to strategy, they don't realize the simple little things that are so effective that if you do right, yeah, we should all call the agents. Yeah, we should all be talking to agents. But it's what do you say? How do you say it? Is it effective? And how do they feel about you? That is the difference maker between you growing your agent business or it plateauing or it going down.
Man, Oleg, this is crazy. It's crazy good. Crazy good. I mean, we're going to run out of time here. I mean, you're currently coaching. You started a coaching company, and I'm gonna pull it up right now here, and we're going to take a look at the team that you've built, because the prestige among these folks is pretty extraordinary when you think about the team that you have been able to assemble here for impact. You can see my screen now here. Who are these folks? What is the lab? And tell us about Impact Elite Coaching.
Yeah, so I mean, the lab is our next event. It's April 22nd, 23rd for the people that want to come show up, put together a solid business plan when they're there, learn all of our strategies and tactics, get to know more about us, and then see if we're the right fit to coach them. As far as who these people are. I think that anybody that's watching this that's in the mortgage space probably recognizes a lot of these people. I mean, these people are some of the best coaches out there in the industry that have been professional coaches forever. So what we do from our end and where our approach is different is we teach the most advanced, the most leveraged play in the market today. It's not for somebody that maybe wants to do it kind of the old school way. It's for somebody that wants to use their team to help bring deals in, wants to really leverage their team to get themselves out of the process. Somebody that wants to run the most advanced play when it comes to programming. We created an agent programming play and a full-blown e-course that I created, where now somebody can have access to the e-course and basically learn the exact strategy that I'm talking on this call through our sales academy. I mean, there's so much more to it. The results of the students are undeniable. I mean, we have people that are doubling and tripling. One of our guys here at NFM Petros, for example. I mean, he started with me. He was doing 93 million. A year later, he's doing 85 million. This year, he's on track to do 240 million, just murdering it. But the part that a lot of people don't realize is that he's doing this not just because he's working more or putting more hours in. He's built a highly effective team that he now leverages to do almost everything that he used to do, so he could focus on what he needs to do, which is bring in more deals, get in front of more agents, and so forth. So I would say this: the base of our strategy comes down to a simple concept of, if you want to have your best year ever, and I think anybody that's going into coaching, you always want to have your best year ever. It comes down to three things. If you want to have your best year ever, number one is you got to build a great team. So we show you exactly what that looks like. A leveraged team that does everything from lead intake to pre-approvals, delivers results to contract to close. A true great team that takes the originator out of it, so that way they could do number two, number three. The second thing is, if you want to have your best year ever, you must tell one person new about it every day. For us in the mortgage space, it's agents, right? So we teach our agent Zoom meeting strategy, where you meet with one agent a day. Okay, and we show you the 18 different ways to land agents without cold calling. You meet them on Zoom from the comfort of your home, from your vacation home, from wherever you are. It does not matter. You meet one agent a day. Which for most people, if they meet with one agent a day, they added over 300 agents in a year to their sphere. They're going to double and triple their volume very, very, very fast. And then the last thing, if you want to have your best year ever, the ones that know, never, ever, ever let them forget. And so that has to do with not only our call strategy, our agent programming call strategy, to our marketing that runs in the background, that mirrors everything that you've been saying, your whole approach, and keeps you in front of these agents and keeps programming these agents to think and work with you forever. So if you do those three things, number one is build a great team. Number two is tell somebody new about it every day. Number three, the ones that know, never let them forget. It's only a matter of time before you break records, even break the numbers that you were doing in COVID. We have a couple students that are breaking their COVID numbers. We're talking about refi numbers. They're breaking their refi numbers with purchases by running the play.
How are you doing this and still closing 60 loans yourself in a month? That's just incredible, man. You're going to close 60 loans this month. The last 2 years here at NFM, you've closed nearly $500 million. And let's be honest, these have not been great years. I mean, Oleg, we're going to run out of time, but I just want to know, like, what happened to this idea that blocking and tackling and fundamentals are going to go away and that everyone's just going to push a button and get a mortgage? I mean, you're dispelling that. A lot of people are dispelling that by just doing the work and doing it consistently.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, I think that there's a lot of AI hype that will always be AI hype. I think that one, if it does happen, it's going to take way longer. If it does happen, it's going to be for a very small percentage of buyers or a small percentage of the business. I think at the end of the day, and I don't think anything that I do is like complex. It's actually the opposite. I think the reason why I'm able to do what I do and coach as many people is because I keep it so simple. From the daily to-dos, from the from the strategies, from allowing you to do it from your office. Like, I'm not a fan of driving around all around town and trying to meet agents and trying to always get in front of them.
You're not the donut. You're not the donut and
I'm
munchkin guy,
not
huh?
that at all. I'm very, very strategic in my approach of, I want you, when you need a lender, to think of me. If I could get you to think of me more oftentimes than not when you need a lender, I win. If you don't think about me when you need a lender, I lose. It's just very, very simple. And I think that people that understand that and start running the play around that, those are the ones that get results, and the results are undeniable.
Give us the dates again and the location as well.
Yeah, so Greg, our event's going to be in Newport Beach. It's at the Pendry Hotel, one of the nicest hotels actually in the world, one of the highest rated. It's going to be phenomenal. It's April 22nd, 23rd. What they can expect is they're going to learn the most advanced play that's working in the market today. They'll be able to take it and build out a business plan there live with everybody else. And they will be able to come back knowing and having a clear plan of how to execute, like some of the best people in the industry that are having results today are executing. Nothing more, nothing less.
Oh, look, I have to
Great
say,
tactic.
it's amazing to me that you're able to do this with virtually no social media. I know lately you've been doing more, and you're committed to doing more, even though they can't find you necessarily. Many of the people that are coaching are very prominent on social media. So I would imagine that that is part of the curriculum. Am I right?
So no, not at all. Actually, we don't run. I mean, there's people that run a social media play, but in reality, no, it's actually not part of the curriculum. And we actually just created a full blown e-course through our sales academy for people that want to run. What I teach is the agent programming strategy and the agent programming play, and what they basically learn in that e-course. And there's like 80 videos of me teaching you all the stuff that you kind of heard today, but really going into depth on it. And basically what they learn is exactly how to run their business with the agent programming strategy, which actually involves zero social media.
So, oh, look, you've done 4 billion and you're not 40 yet. What do you hope to do in your 40s? You think you can, what is the number you're shooting for in the next 10 years?
So from my end, with my team, I want to continue to grow it without my involvement. So the goal is, how do we grow without getting more of me involved, right? Because at the end of the day, of course, I could just double my hours, double everything, and work harder and do more volume. But that it's just not where I am in my life, and I actually think that means really limiting myself and really limiting the people that work for me. Because in reality, if the strategy is so simple that anybody could follow it, it means that your team could follow it as well. That's number one. I think I definitely want to continue to grow it, continue being number one in Washington State in mortgage units. That's something that's been important to me. And then at the same time too, really just kind of the next stage in my life is,
somebody will close this out by, paying tribute to someone that did that for you. How much impact did Rick Ruby have on you when you were a coach at the core?
Rick had a phenomenal impact. I absolutely love Rick and will always love Rick and everything that he and the core is about. Mad respect to the organization and what he's built, and for everything he's done for the industry.
Yeah, he should be proud of you and so many other disciples of the core who have spread their wings and flown to some incredible heights. Oleg Tkach, this has been riveting. I appreciate you. I'm very lucky to be able to call you a colleague and have enjoyed watching you grow and lead here at NFM. You've been here how long now?
So we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary this week.
And I want you to say publicly that you'll never go anywhere else. Please, can you say that?
I have zero plans on ever.
Well, I mean, your number's up here. Every recruiter in America. You may even have some overseas calling you. This was so good. Oleg, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
All right, see ya.